Right then, it's time to welcome some huge stars of the big screen, and tonight we are delighted that they're joining us on the small screen.
Yes, please welcome Tom Hanks, George Clooney and Callum Turner.
Pandemonium.
Come and take a seat.
They've been told where
they sold us like circus animals.
They told me to sit.
Oh, it's good to see you. Thank you for kicking us off our Christmas season.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas to you too. Now, today, big day, because the Oxford University Press
Wait till you hear this
has
one.
announced, and we know you love words, Tom, have announced that the word of the year is Riz. Now, I've had to explain to JJ, because I'm younger, that it's what the young people use for somebody who's got attractiveness and, you know, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Tom, what do you make of Riz as a word?
Riz as in short for charisma.
Short for charisma.
Well, I think if you claim to have Riz, you don't have Riz.
Nice.
It's got to be.
very
It's
true.
got to be placed upon you.
I think
Yeah.
that's right.
That means they have Riz.
Yeah, that's a start.
Yeah.
That was so
Well, that's the other thing too. If you make that statement,
Then you got Riz. What you said is,
Yeah.
It was nice.
you're literally the poster child.
What was last year's word?
Do you know, I don't know.
We'll put our best
I
people
don't
on.
know.
Yeah, we will. We'll get someone
Somebody
to
here.
it.
This is live.
Yeah, let's.
Now, what we do love on this show is a connection. And Tom, you've cast Callum, haven't you, already in a new series called Masters
You are
of
going
the
to
Air.
be so tired of Callum by the time we're all done with it.
We're tired of him.
They're trying to get rid of me. You won't win the show today.
He'll be in Masters of the Air after the first
right.
of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
I must say, George knows his casting eye. He put an excellent actor in his movie.
Well,
Thank
on
you.
that, exactly. I mean, I want to talk to you both, obviously, about this film. Me and Alex went to see it last week. Blown away, I have to say, George, Callum. It was absolutely incredible, wasn't it?
We had a good time making it. You know, we had to train these guys to row for about 5 months altogether. The first couple of months were a little frightening for us filmmakers
yeah, that's right, yeah.
because these guys, they didn't quite look like the athletes that they needed to look like.
After about 3 weeks, they came down, George and Grant, to watch us, and we were excited. We wanted to show off our new skills, and we were awful.
Oh,
We were.
No.
it was
honestly,
shocking.
yeah.
What's the hardest? Getting into the rhythm of
Just
it all?
getting into the boat was hard.
Well, that might be a tough one. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That was the hard part.
Well, The Boys in the Boat is directed by George, obviously stars Callum. Before we hear all about it, let's have a look.
You're announcing the team today. Are you going to make it?
We rode out of need. Come on, boys. The need to stay in school, the need to eat, to sleep.
We gotta keep these right, as long as we stay on the team.
Washington Huskies coach is bringing an inexperienced boat to the competition.
They said we couldn't compete with the richest schools in the nation.
The Washington boat has taken the lead. Washington has done it!
I got 9 seconds under the course record. Olympic year this year.
Olympic year? I didn't realize.
That bunch of kids rode like no one else that's ever come through here.
Hey.
It's so brilliant, so poignant. So, I mean, you really are invested, aren't you? Now, it's about, in a nutshell, a team of university rowers who end up in the 1936 Olympics. But essentially, it's sort of a story about the underdog with lots of different layers, George.
Yeah, you know, it was a best-selling book, huge, big, very popular book in the States called Boys in the Boat. And it really takes place during the Depression, you know, and nobody had any money. And these kids were not legacy, you know, there's certain schools that have legacies of rowing. These kids didn't have that. They just were hungry. And the only way they could get food and go to school was to row. They were all lumberjacks and things like that. And so they rowed out of necessity, and they end up beating everybody, you know, and including getting all the way to the Olympics. So it's a fun story. If it weren't true, when you see it, you'd think it was really ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, that's the fun part about it.
I think you see that within all the characters, Callum, but I think with yours in particular, I have to say, with my kind of like, my own sporting background and kind of understanding what it took for me to kind of get there, it was that element of survival I felt really came through in your character and almost like gave you the edge as well, because you needed it more than
Yeah.
more
Well,
than any of them, didn't you?
Rowing was the way that he had a bed to sleep in at night and food to eat. You know, the thing that really was the kernel for me at the beginning was reading that Joe Rance at 13 came home from school one day and the car's running and his stepmom's in the front, his brother and sister in the back, his dad's on the porch. And he says, "Dad, where are we going?" And his dad says, we're not going anywhere. No, sorry, we're going somewhere, you're staying. And they left him there. At 13 years old. And he had to fend for himself. He caught salmon in the river and just the ability to turn his life around with grit and determination was such an inspiring thing for me. And that's, you know,
well,
wonderful
actually,
thing.
on that note, here's the moment that Callum's character bumps into his father, who abandoned him as a young boy.
I saw your picture in the paper. Harry Jr. clipped it out.
When'd you get back from California?
A couple of years. You know, things weren't much better down there.
So you've been here all that time?
Down the road a bit.
Are you ever gonna tell me?
You're doing all right.
I was 14 when you left.
I went to war when I was that age. So what do you want to do, Joe? Huh? Move home? I mean, I could use the help. Tell you what, I'll pay you $1 a day if you still remember how to cut a tree. Or maybe you'd rather just keep rowing your boat.
Gosh,
Right.
that is, yeah, it's such a sad scene, that, isn't it? The thing about this film is it's so physically demanding, isn't it? We've touched on that a little bit.
I was exhausted. How did you feel? Were you tired?
Just, you know, every time they'd bring me
We worried about
heavy
George.
cup of tea.
Really worried about him,
Yeah. I can imagine.
We would row past, he'd have a glass of wine on the speedboat, going by and go, do it better, do it faster.
He's in his short shorts, I'm in a parka.
But, you know, you two will have trained for different roles, but this one, because obviously you have to be as good as an Olympic I was going to say swimmer, but rower.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and the 8 of you have to row like a proper team of rowers.
That's the difficult thing, is that you have to be in complete unison and together. And we're 8 actors and we're starting from scratch and we didn't know how to do it at all and we're bad for 6 weeks. And
Anybody complained? Any of the actors say, come on, can't we just do a read-through and go back to the hotel?
No, they were, you know, because we were shooting and they were still training, so I would wrap at 3 and then send them out
and we
to
would go
keep
back
rowing.
out.
So there was they couldn't get out of anything. It was rough.
The truth is, I reread the book recently for the press, and I read it before, obviously, and I felt like I understood rowing, and I felt like what they went through. But having done it and rereading it again, it's like it hits in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Rowing is a spectacular sport.
Yeah.
Truly. And
harsh though as well.
It's the closest thing I'll ever be or have.
Like a team.
Yeah, professional sports team.
To being an athlete,
yeah, it was wonderful.
I think probably, well, I mean, when you watch it, you know, when they do the races, that must have been so hard, though, to film and to direct.
You know, shooting on water. You shot on
that's
water.
it.
Oh, it's fun. You know, it's funny. I did Perfect Storm 25 years ago or something. I forgot. You know, I forgot how hard it was. And so when we said, yeah, then I remembered pretty quickly.
Everything slows down.
It's just a nightmare because the boats are all blowing in different directions. And, you know, you can't really get very close because the oars are pretty long and the boats are very long. And we can't get in front of the boat because our boats would capsize, our camera boats would capsize their boats. So we're shooting everything with these 100-foot arms with 200-millimeter lens. It was a lot of work to get it. And the whole time I was sitting there going, why did I say yes to this? But, you know, also these guys, you know, the pros, they'll row for a couple hours. And we're rowing these guys for 10 hours a day. And so they're taking a pretty physical beating from us, so.
Yeah.
That's a real beat.
It was fun for me to do.
I bet it was, yeah. I mean, Tom, George just touched on it slightly. You've got some experience rowing.
Yeah, I've done some rowing.
You've done a bit,
Tom.
yeah.
I've been out on the water. There I am. Look at me. I'm going nuts.
Look at there.
How about that hair? By the way, that was actually my idea. I said, look, I don't just want to be sitting on this raft. I need something to do. And so Bob Zemeckis said, that's great. You can be rowing out there. We're making something that was the most idiotic thing on the planet. By the way, did you learn that? No, I trained how to float. That's a big difference.
That is a difference.
That's where I put my concentration.
But didn't you, because you had to lose a lot of weight. Did you lose it or did you put it on?
No, I started fat and then took a year in order to lose it.
Wow.
That's always fun.
That's what I'm doing now. I'm starting fat and then I'm going to work on that.
It's always easier to find the weight after you've lost the weight.
Somehow it is.
I always find that weight again.
Yeah.
Do you know what? All the effort that went into the film, was 100% worth it.
Brilliant,
yeah. The Boys in the
Amazing.
Boat will be in cinemas from the 12th of January. Excellent.
Indeed. Okay, still to come, we'll be chatting to Tom about his exciting new project called The Moonwalkers and why he thinks there will come a time when people live permanently on the moon.
Plus, Tom will be joined on the sofa by Christina Cook and Reid Wiseman, two NASA astronauts taking part in next year's Artemis II space mission.
But first, back here on Earth, as people head out to shop for their presents, it's also a season of goodwill and charity. So let's head over to Matt Allwright, who's in Leeds, who has a toy story of his own to share. Matt, put the toys down. They're not for you. Thank you very much, Matt. And you're right, he is indeed. We do have Sheriff Woody himself in the building.
Come on, kids, let's get back to Andy's room. There
we go. Now, Tom, you've been very generous and you've signed this particular...
in the traditional place on the bottom of the
boot,
Yeah,
next to the Andy, in a great
lavish.
little spot there. And we'll be giving this to children in need so they can auction it to raise money for the charities that they support.
That will raise tons. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you so much.
And you know, I'm going to be signing Callum and giving him away.
Well, yeah.
We can auction
And
Callum.
knocking me down.
That's the nicest thing to do, I
Brilliant.
think.
And we have Buzz
Very
Lightyear
kind
there
of
as
you.
well.
Yeah.
Now, Tom and George have both experience of playing astronauts, and we've now been joined by two real-life NASA astronauts. Please welcome to the show Christina Cook and Reid Wiseman, who will be taking part in next year's mission.
Now, Christina, can you tell us about the Artemis II mission that you're going to be taking on next year?
Absolutely. It's really exciting. Artemis II is going to be the first crewed mission in the Artemis campaign, which is taking us back to the moon to learn all the secrets that it has, tell us about the formation of our solar system, even ourselves, and take the technology that we learned there, go even deeper onto Mars.
My goodness, it's mind-blowing, isn't it? Having you just think
in the building, yeah. I can't stop. It's just mad having astronauts here, isn't it? It's like
well,
not
this
normal.
whole thing is a bit surreal, to be honest. Now, Tom, the connection with yourself and Christina and Reid is that you came together to put this new experience together called Moonwalkers. It's an immersive space experience, isn't it?
Yes, it's at a facility called Lightroom. It's a huge volume, and it will be as though you are walking in the Sea of Tranquility, in the Ocean of Storms, interacting with them. And the art, there's part of it right there. The thing that is so exciting about the Artemis folks, I have been paying attention to 50 years ago, human beings, just like us, just like they were sitting right here, were able to go and be so far away from our planet Earth that they could cover it up with their thumb, just like that. And they're going to be able to do the same thing. And I wonder, is that going to be frightening or magical when you have an opportunity to do that?
I think it'll be both. But we have a little bit of difference in Artemis from Apollo is that we're going as an international community, and we've been traveling around the world meeting the men and women that are putting this vehicle together. And the thing that we really feel is comfortable. We have complete trust in these people. They're building magnificent machinery. So while there will be some fear, I think we're with you. It's going to be magical.
You'll be gone 9 days, right?
9 days.
9 days.
Right.
Are you bummed out because it's only 9 days? Would you like to have a couple more up there?
We're bummed for our crewmate Jeremy, who isn't here, because we've done a long time in space, and it'll be. But 9 days will be very special in that capsule for us.
Yeah.
Reid, I mean, Artemis II, it's the first mission to the moon in over 50 years, which is incredible in itself. How does it differ from the other Apollo missions?
Christina and I weren't alive in the 1960s when we went in Apollo,
We weren't either.
You commanded a mission. But for us, this is not a race. We are going in a sustainable kind of permanent presence to go live on and around the moon and then build an architecture to get humans out to Mars. That is really our goal. Set our vision far and then go do great things as a global community.
We are officially a spacefaring race now, human beings. It's one of the things we examine in the Moonwalkers at Lightroom. And these are our spacefarers, if we can be so bold as to say.
And how far in the future do you think that we'll be on Mars?
That's a great question.
I think we could go right now if we just put our global will towards that goal. So we're going to go step by step, but
I say 66 years.
66?
Well, you figure it was 50 years between Apollo and now.
Yeah.
We'll go, let's give it another 50 and then chuck on another 16. And I say there'll be an Artemis II mission that will do a free return back from Mars. That human beings will be able to look down on Mars just from a few hundred miles up above it, if not actually walking.
Have you guys ever seen, like, if you go to Houston or you go down to Orlando and you see like the landing module or any of that stuff, you look at that, because they landed in 1969, and you look at it, and it looks like a 57 Chevy. And the idea that you thought you could get in that, go to space, and get back is just, I mean, just the bravest thing in the world.
You got to have hot water or not? Can you have a hot cup of coffee, or is it a lukewarm cup of coffee?
Hopefully we'll be able to warm it up after it's dispensed.
Like
at
a
room
microwave,
temperature.
put it in the radar range, pop it in for a few
Not
minutes?
exactly. Yeah, we have to do everything with actual contact with heat plates. So if our food warmer works, we will get to warm up our pouched coffee. We won't be smelling the aroma of our coffee.
I predict in 66 years we will all be drinking pouched coffee. I believe this is, and it's going to come because of our great pioneers.
Can't wait.
Can't wait for
sounds
that one,
great,
Callum.
doesn't it?
George, we know obviously you were in Gravity.
Yes.
Loved that film. Did you sort of speak to any real astronauts as part of the research? You know, what did you do to prepare
There was
for
a
that
restraining order, so I wasn't really allowed to spend much time, for the most part. Yeah, I did talk to a few, and I got to know a bunch of them because I work with Omega Watches, and that was a big part of the actual landing at one point on the moon. They had to go a little acoustic, you know, at one point. But so I got to spend time with Charlie Duke and Buzz Aldrin and guys like that. You know, I just feel like what you guys do and what they did is one of the great, most courageous. I look at it and I think I'm in awe of what they do and what they've been, and they're real heroes.
Is it something that either of you would like to go and do?
Well, provided we don't, nothing's really expected of us.
Yes.
Just to go and experience it.
The lounge chair.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, experience it. Just have a look down at Earth and, you know, come back.
Do you want to do that?
Sign me up.
I think so, yeah.
I'd let some others go first.
Yeah, try.
Do you know what I mean? Have a few trial runs.
These two look like they know what they're doing. Come on.
I trust them. I'll go with them.
I just have to say, having been there and looked down at our Earth, there's no photo, there's no video that does it justice. They're beautiful when you look at them. But when you're up there with your own brain and your own eyes and your entire life's journey from the time you were a kid, everything that's impacted you, and the way your brain looks at that beautiful planet and that tiny, thin atmosphere, it changes you. It is the most beautiful thing I think you could ever see.
Amazing. Wow. George, the film, The Boys in the Boat, is actually going to be shown on the International Space Station.
International Space Station.
Yeah,
you know, come on.
Can we get tickets?
You can get tickets.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll fly you right up there.
Cute.
$12.50 a ticket.
Yeah, it's the ultimate drive-in.
How do they get that? You know somebody. They know somebody at NASA, and they know you, so they get a movie out of it. Not bad.
Have we got some messages there? I think we have, haven't we?
Oh, look at this.
Okay, we should say you can see The Moonwalkers, A Journey with Tom Hanks. And it was all Tom's idea, this, at Lightroom King's Cross from Wednesday, this Wednesday coming, until the 21st of April.
So I think we're talking Word of the Years here, aren't we? Yeah, so last year's Word of the Year, Trevor's written in and said it was gobbling mode.
Goblin mode?
What does that mean? It says goblin mode. It says a type of behaviour which is unapologetically self-indulgent, lazy, solvently, or greedy.
There is absolutely there's no riz to that word.
There's no
zero riz to that word.
I mean, word.
Yeah,
that's a bad word, man.
David has been in touch. He said, Tom, I loved you in Apollo 13. I know you met Jim Lovell in real life. What's he like?
Jim Lovell is one of the most delightful men who is very much aware of what he saw, what he risked. And here's the great thing about Jim. For a while, he was the most traveled human being on the planet Earth. No one had gone more miles in space than Jim Lovell. He's a wonderful man. We just lost Marilyn, his wife. God bless her eternally.
Well, I've got to say thank you so much for tonight. It's been absolutely incredible.
Lovely.
Well, thanks.
We'll be back tomorrow, and joining us will be Mission Impossible star Rebecca Ferguson and Paddy McGuinness. Have a lovely evening.
Good night.
Goodbye.